Hello. Good evening, everybody. How are we doing today? Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi. How's everybody doing today? All good? I'm going to do it like Coach Irfan does, okay? Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to today's live. To be talking about the topic of speed in our PSLE Maths Revision series. It's very different today indeed. Alright, we are trying a new setup, so let me know if you cannot see anything on the screen or if anything is out of focus. Okay, let me know if you are having some difficulty looking at the screen. Alright. As usual, we will begin in about 4 minutes time, okay? Alright. Some of you are experiencing lag, but it should be better in a bit. LV, you're so sweet. Hi, Isrin. Hi, LV. Very excited to see you guys tomorrow. Are we coming for the PSLE crash course tomorrow? If yes, can you give me double thumbs up? Alright. For those of you who just joined, welcome. My name is Coach Shahira from MasterMaths, and today we are going to go through our PSLE Maths Revision series. We are down to the last few live sessions already before the PSLE. Yeah? Today we are going to be discussing on the topic of speed. In the recent years, because of COVID, speed was not tested in PSLE, but from last year, all the topics have been included. So we are going to be talking about speed today, okay? In hopes that it will help you in your revision. I'm very happy to see you tomorrow, LV. Nice. All right. Okay. Are we able to see the screen clearly? Alright, for those of you who just joined and you're interested to get your hands on our worksheet, please visit our Telegram channel. I have circled it, it's on the screen. I hope you're able to see it. Okay, or alternatively, you can go on to Telegram and search for MasterMaths PSLE. And on there, you'll be able to see our free resources that we upload, and you can get your hands on them, yeah? So who doesn't want free things, right? So go ahead and follow us on our Telegram channel. If you are in P5, please also start following us there, because every week we will upload something for you, and that is going to be free, yeah? All these free resources will be helpful in your revision. Okay, we will begin in 1 minute's time. Okay. Alright, how are our friends doing on Instagram? I hope everything's good. Alright, we will begin with the very first question. Okay, let's take a look at the first question. A shop is 750 meters away from Albert's home. He took 15 minutes to walk to the shop and back again. Find his average speed in kilometers per hour. Try this question now and let me know your answers. Yes, this will definitely be uploaded as well. So please feel free to watch it on our YouTube channel, yeah? Alright. What do you think is the answer here? Okay. Some of you are giving me your answers already. Let me give you some hints for those of you who have yet to get the correct answers. Okay, I haven't quite seen the correct answer yet, so let me give you some hints, yeah? First of all, we are given our units in meters and minutes. Okay, in meters and minutes. Let me change this. And what we want to do is to make sure that we adhere to what the question wants, which is in kilometers per hour. Okay, so the very first thing that you want to do is to ensure that your units follow the units for speed. Okay, so I'll put a star here. The first thing that you want to do is to make sure that your units follow the units for speed. Okay, therefore, you have to do some conversions here and there, right? I see some of you saying we have to convert. You're right. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is to convert. Okay, and for those of you who already forgot everything about speed, let me bring back your memory, or jog your memory for this triangle here. I believe we have all seen this triangle before. Okay, do we recall this triangle? The DST triangle. I believe a lot of you remember. Okay, so what is this DST triangle? Basically, if we are looking for distance, we just multiply the 2 at the bottom, which is speed and time. If we are looking for time, then we divide this to distance by speed. And if we are looking for speed, we divide the distance by time. Okay, and since we are looking for speed in this question, we would want to divide the distance by the time. Yeah. Now for this question, it's a little bit tricky. I only see about 2 to 3 people getting the correct answer. Now this question is a little bit tricky. Why is that so? Because of this very, very famous phrase here. Walk to the shop and back again. Whenever we are given such phrases, okay, whenever we are given such phrases, going to a certain destination and coming back, we have to remember to account for double this distance if we are only given the one-way trip. Okay, agree? Alright? Alright, so with that, what do you think we should do? Hello, Banana. Yes, I remember you, Nana. Hi, Jessie, welcome. Yes, I see more and more of you are getting it. You're right. What we want to do is to first make sure that we account for double the distance. Because it's to the shop and back again, our total distance, let me write it down. Our total distance would therefore be 750 meters times 2. Do we agree with this? 750 meters times 2. So that will give us 1,500 meters, which is the same as 1.5 kilometers. Okay, did we manage to get this? Now with this, more and more of you are getting it right. I'm so proud of you. You're right. Indeed, fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to move this DST triangle all the way at the top so that I have a little bit of space to work with. Okay, so now that we have the total distance, we have the total time for both the journey, right? From home to the shop and back home. Therefore, with the total distance and the total time, we can find the speed in kilometers per hour, okay? So before that, let's change the total time into hours. Do we recall how to change this into hours? Wow, so many of you are getting the correct answer indeed. It's 4, yes. Oh yes, hello Diana. Thanks for letting me know. Yes, more of you are getting it right. Okay, there has really been quite an improvement, especially for those of you who have been attending our live sessions for a couple of weeks now. Okay, from at first getting it here and there a little bit to now, you are getting it, and I'm really, really very happy for you guys. Great job. Keep it up, okay? All right. Hi Nawal, I'll see you tomorrow too. Nice. Okay, so for those of you who do not remember, from minutes to convert to hours, all we got to do is change our denominator. Make sure that our denominator is out of 60. So all we got to do is take 15 out of 60. This would definitely be our conversion from minutes to hours, okay? So from here, all we got to do is simplify to give us 1/4 hours, okay? Then from there, using the DST triangle, if we are looking for speed, all we need to do is take distance divided by time. Therefore, his speed would be 1.5 kilometers divided by 1/4 hour to give you 6 kilometers per hour. Okay? Do we understand? Alright. I am holding a device here to see some of your comments a little bit clearer, yeah? Alright. So for our question 1, the final answer is option number 4. Most of you got this right. Well done. For those of you who did not get it, do you need me to explain one more time? Yes, don't worry. Okay, don't worry, I'll explain this one more time. Okay, so far so good. For those of you who have gotten it, can you please help me with the drill again? Help me double tap your screen. Help me double tap your screen and like our channels. Follow us on our socials. And don't forget to share this live with your friends, especially your classmates who are sitting for the PSLE together with you, yeah? Alright. Indeed, this session is recorded, so don't worry. You can anytime come back and view it, okay? Alright, so let me repeat this one more time. Number 1, the very, very important thing that you need to remember for speed would be the formula, okay? The DST triangle here will help you with the formula. Let me zoom it in for you. Alright, so everybody can see the triangle here, right? So in order for us to look for speed, which is what the question is asking for, we take distance divided by time. Since distance is on top, we divide, yeah? So that is what we want to do. Then the second thing that we need to make sure in any speed question is that our units for the time and the distance follow the units for the speed. Okay, because speed has 2 units inside, which is 1 for distance and 1 for time. Okay, in this case, kilometer per hour. If you were to change the units for speed into something else, then it defeats the purpose of the question already. Yeah? So we are going to change the units for the distance given to us and for the time given to us to be in kilometers per hour. Okay, therefore, what we want to do is convert 750 meters and convert 15 minutes into kilometers and hour respectively, okay? Now on top of that, we are told that he took a total of 15 minutes to walk to the shop and back again, okay? So you are walking to the shop and coming back. Therefore, you are doing double the distance, right? So to the shop, let me write it somewhere here. From home to the shop is already your 750 meters. Then you need to come back, which is another 750 meters. That is why in our very first step, we multiply by 2. So far, so good? Okay? Alright. So once we multiply by 2, because from home to shop and then coming back, we will then change this value into kilometers, because the question wants us to leave our answer in kilometers. Okay? Alright, fantastic. So far, so good, everyone? Alright. Okay? Then from here, we convert the units for time into hours. So how do we convert units for time into hours? From minutes to hours, all you got to do, step 1, copy. If let's say you're given 45 minutes, or if let's say you're given 75 minutes, whatever the time is in minutes, you just copy down that value in the numerator and then write an out of 60 in your denominator. Okay? So convert by copying down the time in units, in minutes at the top, and then putting a denominator as 60. This will be already converted into hours. Why? Because 1 hour equals to 60 minutes. Okay? So if 1 hour is 60 minutes, from here, how do we simplify? Just key into your calculator, or you can slowly divide. For example, in this case, we can divide by 15 straight away, or you can divide by 5 first, and then later on divide by 3. Okay? So we will get 1/4 hours. So far, so good? Alright, so now that I have total distance, total time, I can find average speed, which is 1.5 kilometers divided by 1/4 hour. Key into calculator, you should get 6 kilometers per hour. Okay? Alright, so far so good. How are we doing? Okay, if you understand, can you help me spam the like button, please? Alright, for those of you who just joined, welcome. My name is Coach Shahira from MasterMaths, and we are back again with another of our live session on our TikTok and Instagram channels. So welcome if you're new here. We have our live sessions for PSLE Maths revision every Tuesdays at 8 p.m. And if you have already missed out the previous sessions, don't worry, you can always tune in to our YouTube channel to view the past recorded sessions, yeah? Alright. Okay, shall we move on to question number 2 now? Alright, question number 2 is on average speed. Okay, question 2 is on average speed, so let's take a look. Alright, a motorist travelled 2/3 of his journey at an average speed of 96 kilometers per hour and completed the remaining 240 kilometers in 3 hours. Okay, we want to find his average speed. This is what we are interested in, his average speed. Okay, do we recall the formula for average speed? If you do, can you help me type it in the chat, please? What is the formula for average speed? How do we find average speed? Do you think I can just take the speed in the first part of this journey and add it with the speed in the second part of the journey and divide by 2? Do you think that works? Can I take speed plus speed divide by 2 to find average? Is that how it works? Some of you are saying no, you're right. Alright. Well, a lot of you have typed it in. Fantastic. Indeed, we take the total distance divided by the total time. Okay? So, what I like to tell all the students is this. When you are looking for average speed, always only focus on these 2 things. Number 1, total distance. Okay? And number 2, total time. Okay? So, if let's say you are given a journey by parts, I have the first part of the journey, I have the second part of the journey, just focus on these missing things here. You need the total distance and the total time. Okay, so far so good? Alright, then from here, what we can do is draw out this journey. Okay, I've actually pre-drawn it for you. So, for this question, the motorist travelled 2/3 of the distance of his journey at an average speed of 96 kilometers per hour. Okay, and then he traveled another 240 kilometers and he took 3 hours for this. So you can draw a very simple speed diagram when you are given journey by parts, especially, so that you can visualize what's going on a little bit clearer. Okay? Alright, a lot of you have gotten the correct answer. I'm so happy. Good job. Right, for those of you saying option 3, well done. So how did some of our friends get option 3? Let's talk about it. Okay, so as I was saying, you only want to focus on these 2 things, total distance and total time, okay? Now, since we are given the remaining 240 kilometers, we can conclude that this remaining must be 1/3 of the distance. Agree? Okay? We can conclude that this remaining must be 1/3 of the distance. Okay, then from here, we can further find our total distance, right? We can further find our total distance. If I have 1/3 of the distance to be 240 kilometers, I can then find 2/3 of the distance. 2/3 of the distance would just be 240 kilometers times 2 to give us 480 kilometers. Agree? Okay, this is our second part that we can find. And from here, I can find the total distance. 3 out of 3 of the total distance would then be 720 kilometers. Okay, let me write down the entire equation for you guys. 240 kilometers times 3 to give us 720 kilometers, right? Okay, so for those of you who are typing in your answers already, you are right. It is indeed number 3. A lot of you have gotten it right. Fantastic job. Good. So now that I have this portion, this is going to be our total distance. Okay, so now I can put a tick here to remind myself that I have gotten my total distance, 720 kilometers. Okay, so far so good? Alright, one more time, yeah? For those of you who are struggling a little bit, don't worry. Let me explain this one more time before we move on to the next. Struggling a little bit, don't worry. Let me explain this one more time before we move on to the next part of this question, okay? Step 1, focus on what you need when you are finding average speed, okay? Based on the question, we want average speed. And from here, based on the question, we want average speed. And from here, we know that average speed equals to total distance divided by total time. Okay? Total distance divided by total time. So only focus on these two things. Alright? And straight away, we can find total distance so easily. Why? Because the question says remaining 240 kilometers. At first was already 2/3 of his journey. So remaining must be 1/3. 1/3 must be your 240 kilometers. Okay? So 1/3 of the distance is 240 kilometers. Okay? Then from here, I can find the total distance. 3 out of 3 of the distance, the total distance would then be 720 kilometers. Okay? Alright. I see that some of you are lagging, so let me pause a little bit. So far, so good. Okay. Alright. Is it still laggy now? Okay. Okay, what you can do is to refresh your app, okay? If you find it to be laggy, you can try to refresh the app and join in again to see if it's better. Okay, does it seem better now? Are we doing okay? Alright, great. Thank you for your responses. Indeed, some of you are saying it's okay now. Fantastic. Okay, great. Alright, let's continue. So, once I have 1/3 of the distance to be 240 kilometers, I can find the total distance, 3 out of 3 of the journey, right? So, 3 out of 3 of the journey will be 720 kilometers. I have found the very first thing I need, total distance, yeah? Okay. Next, I need my total time. How do I find total time here? All I have to do is look for the parts where I am missing a time and find the time, okay? So if you're looking at the first part of the journey, ask yourselves, do we have a time here? Do you think we have a time here? Right? Do we have a time here? Not quite, right? Because we don't have a time here, the time taken for the first part of the journey, that's exactly what we need to look for. Agree? Yes, LV, you're right. We need to look for this time so that we can find the total time by adding the 2 times together. Okay? So let's look for time 1 in the first part of the journey. Okay? So from here, I can find time 1. Time 1 would be distance 1 divided by speed 1. Okay, why 1 here? Because it's in the first part of the journey. Okay, first part of the journey. And distance 1, we have found 2/3 to be 480 kilometers. So that's going to be 480 kilometers divided by 96 kilometers per hour to give us 5 hours. Okay, that is time 1. So far can follow? Okay, so now that we have time 1, we have time 2, we can then find the total time. Okay, we can now find the total time. Let me shift this out so that we have a little bit of space to write certain things. Okay, I hope this is okay. Alright, so now that we have time 1, we can then find our total time. This will then be 5 hours in the first part of the journey, plus another 3 hours given to us in the second part of the journey. This gives us 8 hours. Okay, so I have total distance, 720 kilometers. I have total time, 8 hours. I can now find the average speed. So average speed equals to average speed equals to 720 kilometers divided by 8 hours to give us our final answer, 90 kilometers per hour. Okay, so option number 3. Okay. Alright. I apologize if it's a little bit too laggy. Let me try to go a little bit slower so that once it refreshes, you don't miss too much of what I'm saying. Okay? So far, so good? Alright. Thank you for all of your patience. Okay. Thank you, LV. You're very sweet. Very sweet of you. Thank you so much. The rest of you, thank you for your understanding and patience. We are trying something new this time round to improve the quality of our live lessons. So I hope that, first of all, you are able to follow through and see the screen a little bit better. And if it's a little bit laggy, I'll try to go a little bit slower, okay? And we'll try to fix this soon, okay? Thank you so much for your understanding. All right. So far, so good. The rest? Okay. All right, so let me recap this question one more time, then we can move on to number 3. Okay, let me recap this question one more time. Okay, one more time. To find average speed, we need 2 things. Total distance, total time. So once you draw your journey by parts, you draw part 1 of the journey, part 2 of the journey, fill in what you are given. For example, part 1 of the journey, I have 2/3 of the distance. Okay, let me zoom it in. Part 1 of the journey, I have 2/3 of the distance. Part 1 of the journey, I'm also given the first speed. Okay, and later on, in the second part, I am also given the remaining 240 kilometers, and I am also given the time taken. Okay, then from here, just work your way through to find T and T. If you just work your way through to find T and T if you don't have it, and the distance if you don't have it, because you only want these 2 things, distance and time. Okay, to help you find total distance and total time. Got it? Okay, so with that, the answer to question number 2 is option number 3. Okay, the answer to question 2 is option number 3. All right. Okay, if you are clear, I'm going to leave this for your viewing for a little bit more, especially for those of you who mentioned that it was a little bit laggy initially. Okay, then we will move on to question number 3. Okay, Okay. So let me explain one more time. Some of you are requesting that I explain one more time. Let me explain one more time. Step 1, we draw out the journey by parts. Okay, step 1, we draw out the journey by parts. Okay, step 2, we only focus on our missing distance and missing time. Okay, find our missing distances and our missing time, because average speed uses these two quantities, distance and time. Okay, to find average speed, I need total distance, I need total time. So, if I don't have a distance in the first part, I need to look for it. If I don't have a distance in the second part, I need to look for it. Okay? If I don't have a time in the first part, I need to look for it by taking distance divided by speed. Okay? So once I have found the time in the first part, which is 5 hours, I can then add the total time and later on add the total distance, then divide those two quantities to help us find average speed. Okay? All good? Alright, any questions so far? Okay, if not, let's move on to question number 3. Question number 3. Thank you very much everyone for your patience. I really truly appreciate it, especially during this time, especially nearing your PSLE, you coming here and joining us, especially at this timing. Thank you very, very much. I hope that I can do everything in my power to help you together with our colleagues behind the scenes to try and figure out how to make this a little bit of a smoother process for you guys as well, yeah? Thank you so much for your patience and your understanding. Let's move on to question number 3. Okay. Alright, for those of you who just joined, welcome. My name is Coach Shahira from MasterMaths. Today we are running through our PSLE Maths revision series on the topic of speed, something that hasn't come out in quite recent years, especially during COVID period. Last year was the year where all the topics were tested in PSLE, right? So this year, we hope that with this revision, it will help you a little bit better as well. Okay? All right. A lot of you have gotten the answer here. Very good. I have not even started and you have already gotten the answer. Fantastic job, everyone. Okay. For those of you who are new and you just joined and you want to get your hands on our worksheet, all these resources are free. Please join our Telegram channel. Okay, what you can do is click on this link if it's on your web browser for you. Otherwise, what you can do is just search for our MasterMaths PSLE channel on Telegram. Okay, it will appear and you can just join us to get our resources for free. Alright? Okay. Alright, so let's talk about this question here. Now, this question may seem a little bit confusing at first because we don't have a lot of information. So let's talk about this question, yeah? We have two people. Okay, two people, Adam and Blake. Okay, Adam and Blake. And they are jogging at the same time along a straight route. So let me highlight all these key phrases or key notes for you guys, okay? So we have at the same time and we have along a straight route. Now, both of them did not change their speed throughout. Now, another way that they can tell you this is what we call uniform speed. Sometimes in your exams, they may use these phrases. They are traveling at uniform speed or they are traveling at constant speed. Okay, they mean the same thing. the speed does not change. Okay, so if let's say you are sitting for the PSLE and this word comes out, uniform speed, don't panic. It just means constant speed did not change throughout. Okay? Alright. So, for this question, after 20 minutes, Adam reached the halfway point while Blake was 500 meters behind. So Adam is going to reach the halfway point, very important here, after 20 minutes, while Blake was still 500 meters behind. Okay? Adam reached the finishing point 5 minutes before Blake. Okay, another important thing to take note here, 5 minutes before Blake. And we are asked to find their jogging distance in kilometers. Okay? So, let me show you the options here once we have seen the question. I will only focus on the important parts of the question, which is the second paragraph, so that you guys are able to see the important parts of the question together with all the options at a glance. Okay? Alright. Now, a lot of you have gotten very close answers, so that's great. Let's talk about this question a little bit, okay? Anybody needs any SOS at this point? Anyone needs any SOS at this point? Okay. For those of you who have gotten 2, okay, for those of you who have gotten 2, let me give you a hint to check if your answer is correct, okay? The question told us that after 20 minutes, he only reached the halfway point. This is very important. Do you think he completed the entire distance, the entire journey after 20 minutes? What do you think? Okay, for those of you needing SOS, let me share with you what we can gather from this information here. Okay, so what can we gather from this information here? First of all, let's analyze the two people. We have Adam and we have Blake. Okay? I hope everybody is able to see. We have Adam, we have Blake. Okay, so what's going on with Adam and Blake? In the first 20-minute mark, Adam traveled half the distance, while Blake was 500 meters behind. Okay, so far so good. Okay, one more time. After 20 minutes, Adam traveled half the distance because it's halfway point, while Blake was 500 meters behind. Basically, this entire phrase here is what we know. Okay? Alright. Then the question told you, Adam reached the finishing point 5 minutes before Blake. So for him to reach the finishing point, he must have traveled the whole journey. Agree? So for him to travel the whole journey, another half of the distance, so the whole journey, 2 out of 2 of the distance, we have to multiply by 2. Okay, because this is whole journey. Okay, so far so good. So whole journey, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, therefore, on the other side, we are going to get 40 minutes. So Adam is going to take 40 minutes for 2 out of 2 of the distance, while Blake, at first, in the first half of the distance, he is 500 meters behind. If we continue for another 20 minutes, he is now going to be 1 kilometers behind. Agree? This part can follow. He's going to be 1 kilometers behind. Okay? Alright? So, what's happening here? In 40 minutes, okay, I'm talking a little bit slower so that if it lags again, you are able to catch up. Okay? So, in 40 minutes, Adam will complete the whole journey. Agree? Adam will complete the whole journey. And Blake is going to be 1 kilometer behind. So Blake hasn't completed the journey. Understand? Okay? Once you understand this part, can you give me a thumbs up? If you understand this part, can you give me a thumbs up? Are you able to type that thumbs up emoji in the chat? So far, so good. All right. Great. Some of you are getting it. Fantastic. Okay. So with this in mind, we know that for him to complete these 1 kilometers, let me use purple. To complete these 1 kilometers, he needs another 5 minutes. Agree? For him to complete these 1 kilometers, he needs another 5 minutes. Okay? So far, so good? Alright. Okay? Let me go a little bit slower. I see that it's lagging again. Thank you, Nana. I hope it's good for you. You are able to understand. Alright. Okay? So, one more time. In 20 minutes, Adam traveled half the distance. Blake was 500 meters behind. Therefore, if I want the whole journey, I just need to times 2. Because it's half the distance, to get the whole journey, I need to times 2. Okay? So, for Blake, he is going to take 40 minutes, but he will be 1 kilometers behind. Because at first, 500 meters times 2, we will get 1 kilometers behind. Okay? Alright. Okay, if you cannot hear me, you can write down all of these things. Okay, whatever that I'm saying is basically what I am showing here in words. So all the key points will be written down in words, yeah? Alright, one more time. All the key points will be written down in words. Okay, so from here, we know that Blake's total time will be 45 minutes. Okay? From here, we know that Blake's total time will be 45 minutes. Got it? Okay? Blake's total time will be 45 minutes. Okay? All good? So from here, Blake takes 5 minutes to travel 1 kilometers. If he wants 45 minutes of jogging time, we just have to times 9 to give us 9 kilometers. That's our final answer. Okay? Alright. I am so sorry. I'm really trying my best here. And our colleagues are also trying our best here to fix this issue. So I hope that you are able to follow as I'm speaking a little bit slower. If you have missed any parts, don't worry. You can just go on to our YouTube channel, okay, to view our past recorded sessions, okay? All right. All right. Thank you very much for all of your understanding. I'm going to explain this question one more time. Okay? I'm going to explain this question one more time. Okay. One more time. The question tells you that Adam takes 20 minutes to complete half the distance while Blake was 500 meters behind. So if Adam were to complete the whole journey, 2 out of 2 of the distance, he will take 40 minutes and Blake will need another 5 minutes because the question says Adam reached the finishing point 5 minutes before Blake. So the journey that Blake hasn't completed yet, he will need another 5 minutes to complete it. So this 1 kilometer, he takes 5 minutes to complete. Okay? In 1 kilometer, he will need 5 minutes to complete. So he must be a very fast runner, right? So in this manner, we know that their total time is 40 minutes, or rather Blake's total time is 40 minutes plus another 5 minutes, which is 45 minutes. Okay? If he takes 5 minutes to complete 1 km, then in 45 minutes, he can complete 9 kilometers because his speed does not change. So far, can follow? All right. Okay. If you are great and you kind of understand what's going on here, can you help me smash the like button, please? All right. Thank you very much for all of your time and your patience and your understanding. Shall we now move on to the next question? All right. Don't worry, all of these will be provided in our recorded session on our YouTube channel. Okay, so don't worry, you can go ahead to our YouTube channel and view the recorded sessions. All right? Okay. Thank you very much for all of your likes. For those of you who just joined, welcome. My name is Coach Shahira. We are going through the topic of speed in our PSLE Maths Revision series on our TikTok and Instagram platforms. And all of these sessions are recorded and you can view them again on our YouTube channel. All right. Let's move on to the next question. Now the next 2 questions are open-ended. So we have to solve it ourselves. There are no multiple choice. Let's take a look at this question. I'll leave these for you to read through first if you don't have the worksheet. All right. Okay, I hope you are doing great. Let's take a look at question number 4. Now there's a box here because I've written some things in here, which I will show you in a second, okay? I'll show you in a second. All right. Okay, now for this question, let's take a look. When Sherry started cycling from her home, Lana was 480 meters ahead. Now, just based on this first line, what do you think this concept is on? 480 meters ahead. What do you think this concept is on? Okay, we have a few concepts in speed. We have the average speed concept. We have the meetup concept. We have the catch-up concept. We also have common distance or common time concept. So what do you think this concept will be? Okay. All right. Yes, very good. A lot of you are getting it. Indeed, this is the catch-up concept. Okay, so I'll put a star here to remind us to watch out for our catch-up concept. Okay, next. let's move on. Sherry's cycling speed was 5 meters per second, while Lana's cycling speed was 2 meters per second. Okay? Then they told you that they went in the same direction. Another hint to tell you it's a catch-up concept. Okay? Another hint to tell you it's a catch-up concept. Then they also tell you that they did not change their speeds throughout. Again, constant speed. Now the question is saying, what distance would Sherry have cycled when she caught up with Lana? This is the key determining factor to help us determine our catch-up concept. So all these stars tell us that it's a catch-up concept. Okay? So for catch-up concept, let's talk about the formula. Do you all know that there's a formula for catch-up concept? Do you all know there's a formula for catch-up concept? Do you know what is this formula? Not the ketchup, not the chili sauce ketchup, okay? What's the formula? Do we remember? Okay, I'm going to show it to you, but I'm going to show you a way to not use this formula and still be able to solve the question. Because I know it's very stressful to have to remember so many formula and properties all at once, right? For your big exams. So let me show you this catch-up concept first. Okay, this is our formula. Able to see? Okay, Faizan, you are right. Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about this catch-up concept, okay? Catch-up concept here. To find the time taken to catch up, we will need to take the distance apart and divide this by the difference. Especially for students who don't recall the formula, no worries. We can still solve it without using the formula, okay? So just by using logic, if you were to draw it out, okay? Let me draw it out for you guys. The distance apart here is 480 meters. If it's lagging, try to refresh the app to see if it works. If it's lagging, try to refresh the app to see if it works. Okay? Okay. All right, I think it's much better now. Okay, yes, let me talk now, okay? Some of you are talking about cup noodles already. Okay. So, if we are given a catch-up question, what we can do is draw out the diagram. Okay, we have a distance apart 480 meters. Okay, this person will be somewhere here. This will be Lana. Let me draw out. Lana will be somewhere here already. and she's going at a speed of 2 meters per second. And on the other hand, we have Sherry. On the other hand, we have Sherry going at a distance of, or speed of 5 meters per second. Okay? So we have Lana 2 meters per second, Sherry 5 meters per second. Okay? So Sherry is going to be much faster. And what Sherry needs to do is to catch up to Lana. Okay? Sherry needs to catch up to Lana. So what is going on here? The first thing that we want to look out for is the distance apart. Okay, so let me write down. Distance apart that we need to catch up is 480 meters. Agree? Distance apart that we need to catch up is 480 meters. Okay? Now, every time each of them moves and moves and moves in 1 second, okay, the distance caught up in 1 second is 5 meters that Sherry moves, while Lana moves 2 meters. So Sherry is having an additional distance of 3 meters every time she moves, every second that she moves. Okay, so Sherry is going to get 3 meters extra for every second that she moves. Okay? So from here, to find the number of seconds needed to catch up, we just have to divide. How many 3 meter, 3 meter, 3 meter, 3 meter in every second do we need to reach 480 meters? So how many 3 meters? That will be 480 meters divided by 3 meters to give us 160. Okay? So I need 160 seconds because every 3 meters or every second that I move, I am catching up by 3 meters. So how many 3 do I need to reach 480? I need 160 sets of 3 meters. And that means 160 seconds because every 3 meter is 1 second. Okay? So the total time taken is 160 seconds. Okay? So far so good? So from here, all we need to look for is Sherry's distance in 160 seconds. So Sherry in 160 seconds will just be her speed 5 meters per second times her time 160 seconds to give us 800 meters. Okay? Alright? Okay, thank you so much for your patience. I am going a little bit slower so that you can catch up, especially with legs on both our ends. I hope it's okay now. Alright? So, let me explain this question one more time. Alright, let me explain this question one more time. Okay, so we are told that the distance apart, the moment Sherry starts, Lana is already 480 meters ahead. Okay, so the distance apart to catch up is 480 meters. Now, every 1 second that both of them move at the same time, Lana is going to catch up by 3 meters. Every 1 second, 3 meters gained. Every 1 second, 3 meters gained. I need to gain 480 meters so that they can both meet at the same point. That would be the point where Sherry will overtake Lana.
Okay? So how many 3 meters make up 480 meters? That would be 160. So that's 160 seconds in total. Okay? So how much has Sherry traveled in 160 seconds? That will be her speed, 5 meters per second, times her time, 160 seconds, to give us 800 meters. Everybody clear? All right. Okay. I see that you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. I hope you are clearer with this question now. And thank you so much for staying on and entertaining each other while the lag happens. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. For those of you who just joined, welcome. My name is Coach Shahira, and we are going through the topic of speed in our PSLE Maths Revision series. We are down to our final few sessions, so please try and join us every Tuesdays at 8 p.m. all the way until the week of PSLE, okay? All right. If you wish to get your hands on our worksheets, our resources, they can be found on our Telegram channel, which I'm going to scroll over. Here is our Telegram channel. Okay, you can go on to Telegram and search for MasterMaths PSLE, or just type in this link here in order to access our Telegram channel. Okay? Okay. All right. So let's talk about question number 5. Okay? I'm sorry to have extended this live a little bit. Let's quickly finish up number 5 while the internet is still working fine. Okay. All right. So let's talk about our last question for today. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So for this question, a car traveled from town A to town B at a speed of 96 kilometers per hour. Okay, 96 kilometers per hour here. Now, bear in mind that this is at the same time. So there is no extra distance that the lorry has covered before or after the car has traveled. Okay, things like that. So bear in mind this is at the same time. The lorry traveled from town B to town A. This is where we have to again focus on our distance or our journeys. From A to B versus B to A. Do you think they are traveling in the same or opposite direction? What do you think? Okay, same or opposite direction? A to B versus B to A. What do you guys think? Yes, Nikki, all the questions here are about speed. Okay, we have 5 questions about speed because we are covering the topic of speed today. Okay. Thank you for saying that my water bottle is nice. You can get it from Coffee Bean. I am not sponsored, but Coffee Bean, please sponsor us. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, so yes, fantastic. A lot of you are saying the correct thing. Indeed, from A to B versus B to A, this is in opposite direction. Okay, if it's opposite direction, what must you think of? What concept must straight away appear in your head? What do you think? Okay, what do you think this is supposed to be? What kind of concept is this? Okay, if we are talking about opposite direction, we must think of the concept of meet up. That's right. Saw twice. Oh, you're right. Very nice. I believe you went to Twice's concert since your name is Saw Twice. Indeed, opposite direction means we are looking at meetup concept. Okay? And this is further proven by this phrase here. When the car met the... Let's change this into a bus instead. Okay? Let's change this into a bus instead. So when the car met the bus, so this phrase here tells us that we are looking at the meetup concept. Okay? So all these key phrases here will tell you to focus on the meetup concept. So for the meetup concept, the formula is very similar to catch-up concept, except instead of finding difference in speeds. Earlier on, we took 5 meters minus 2 meters, right, to find 3 meters, or in 1 second. So that's basically the difference in speed, 3 meters per second. Instead of finding difference, to find meetup concept formula, or to use meetup concept formula, we have to look for the sum of speeds. Okay? Sum of speeds. All right. Okay. So for this question, same thing. I'm not going to use the formula so that you are able to understand with a little bit of labels in my equations, so that you know why the formula is this way, okay? So first of all, if I want to meet the bus, we are traveling in opposite directions. Okay, let me bring this a little bit lower. Okay. I believe you can't see this entire phrase that I have written. Okay, let me bring it down here. Okay, perfect. So you can see it better now. Okay, so for this question, because it's opposite direction, we have town A, town B. You can draw it out. The car is traveling here at 96 kilometers per hour. And the bus is traveling here at 64 kilometers per hour. Okay? When they meet, because the car is traveling faster, they're not going to meet somewhere in the middle. The car is going to move a little bit more. So we will move somewhere closer to point B or town B, because the bus is traveling slower. Okay? So this is their meetup point. So for the meetup point, the car will travel this much, and the bus will travel this much. Agree? For the meetup, for them to meet up at the purple point, the car will travel all this green journey, green distance, and the bus will travel this orange distance. So in total, their total traveling journey is going to be their distance apart. Okay? So the distance apart in this case is 640 kilometers. This will be your distance apart. Okay? So far, so good? All right. So far, so good, everyone? Okay. So don't get confused with this bus lorry thing, okay? Just change the lorry to bus, no problem. Okay, then from here, what we can do is, let me move up. The distance apart is 640 kilometers. Every 1 hour, how much are they going to move to cover and move this distance closer to each other? Okay, that's what we are looking for. So the distance covered in 1 hour, the car will move 96 kilometers. And the bus will move 64 kilometers. This will give us 160 kilometers. Okay? The bus will move 64 kilometers. The car will move 96 kilometers. In total, it would be 160 kilometers. Okay? All right. Yes, Shan, I remember you. And yes, I am going to stay hydrated, okay, with my water. Thank you very much for your concern. Okay. All right. So from here, we know that every 1 hour, they are going to be 160 kilometers closer to each other. Okay? Because they move 160 kilometers in total in opposite ends. Now, I need to be so close that there's no distance between us. So, how many 160 kilometers do I need to cover 640 kilometers. To do that, we again divide, just like what we did in the previous question for catch-up. But this time around, instead of subtracting, we add the speeds here, okay? So for this question, to find the number of hours to meet, that will just be 640 kilometers divided by 160 kilometers to give us 4 hours. Okay, so in total, let me move everything up. In total, they need 4 hours. Every 1 hour, 160 kilometers closer to each other. So from 640 kilometers apart, they are going to be 160 kilometers less apart. Okay, another hour, another 160 kilometers closer together, all the way until they finally meet with no distance apart. Okay, so far so good. Alright, so I need 4 hours for the car to move and for the bus to move. Now, if the question is asking how long does it take, we can stop here. But the question is asking how much further did the car travel than the bus when the car met the bus. So how much more did the car travel than the bus? To solve this, since both of them are traveling for 4 hours, the difference in distance between the car and the bus will be 96 km per hour minus 64 km per hour. In 1 hour, they are going to have this difference in speed. And we multiply this by 4 hours. Okay? To give you, in total, your answer is going to be 32 kilometers. Okay? 32 kilometers. Understand? So in 1 hour, the car will move 96 km minus 64 km more than the bus. So in 4 hours, how much will that be? We just multiply by 4. Okay? Alright. Okay. So far so good? Alright. If you're good, let me zoom out so that you can see the entire question at a glance together with the solution. I hope this helps. Alright. Okay? Alright, fantastic. I'm going to repeat this one last time. Okay? And if you have missed it out, don't worry, okay? You can just go on to our YouTube channel and watch the recorded version of this lesson. Okay? Alright, so one more time. Now, for every, let me show you my water bottle at the side, hoping that Coffee Bean will sponsor us. Okay, anyway, let me explain this one more time, okay? Now, the car will travel at 96 km per hour. The bus will travel at 64 km per hour in opposite direction. Now, they are 640 kilometers apart right now. In 1 hour, the car move 96 kilometers, the bus move 64 kilometers. So in total, they move 160 kilometers. But they are still not meeting yet. They are still not meeting yet because they only move 160. We have 640 kilometers to cover. Okay, they move 1 hour, haven't met yet. Move another hour, another 160 kilometers. Unfortunately, still haven't met yet because haven't reached 640 kilometers. Okay, so with this in mind, we can take 640 kilometers divide by 160 kilometers. How many 160, 160, 160, 160? Which means how many 1 hour do we need in order for them to cover 640 kilometers in total? Okay? Alright, so this will give us 4 hours, 4 sets of 160 kilometers. Okay? So with 4 hours, the car will move 4 hours, the bus will move 4 hours, each of them with their respective speeds. Okay? Now, since we are looking for the difference in the distance, we take the car's speed minus the bus speed. In 1 hour, 96 minus 64. Okay, we should get 8 kilometers. That means, oh, this should not be 8 kilometers. I think this is not right. Let me check this one more time. 6 minus 64, we would get 32 kilometers, and then we must multiply by 4, okay? So this should be instead 32 km multiplied by 4 hours to give us in total 128 kilometers, okay? Apologies for this, 128 kilometers, okay? So 96 minus 64 kilometers per hour. Every 1 hour, the car moves 32 kilometers more than the bus. Okay, so in 4 hours, the car will move 128 kilometers more than the bus. Any questions? Okay, all good. All right, I have seen your chat here. I see that some of you are having birthdays, some on PSLE even. Very unfortunate, but I hope that you are still able to celebrate your birthday after the PSLE, a belated birthday celebration. So for those of you who have your birthdays in this coming month, or have your birthdays just passed, happy birthday to you. All right. Okay. How are we doing so far? All good? Okay. I hope you are able to understand today's lesson. If you are unsure, please feel free to watch our YouTube channel for the recorded version so that you can catch up with what has been covered, all right? And we have a few more lessons till the PSLE, a few more live sessions till the PSLE. Let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3 more live sessions, okay? So if you want me to cover anything, please type it in the chat now. Okay, so far in the last few sessions, I have covered the things that you wanted me to, like ratio, fractions, percentage, decimals. We've covered those. We've also covered angles, right? Okay. All right. I see what you are typing. Yes. Okay. All right. So keep them coming. Don't worry. I am going to review them. Yeah. Don't worry. All right. If you have no other questions, please keep the comments coming in for what you want me to cover. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for those of you who are joining us on our crash course event tomorrow at SMU. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week, same time, same day, Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll leave this live for about another 2 minutes for some of you typing in. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Please remember to eat well and sleep well, okay? Drink a lot of water. Bye. See you tomorrow for those of you coming. Bye. See you. Okay, let's end this live now. Thank you, everybody. Good night.